Sure, let's do it. GeorgeNotFound responded. I guess he got. I think I saw that he got pulled from the Mr. Beast team, even though he seems to have done nothing wrong. We already talked about it in another video. You know, he is the tickle monster. That is pretty much it. That's pretty much all we got. I guess we'll put this. I don't know. Okay, let's get going.
For those of you who don't know, Katie Boggs recently did a stream and accused me of something very serious. I made a response and then she made a follow-up response. This is my response to her follow-up. Throughout this video, I'm going to be showing clips from some other people just for context, and just to make it clear, I don't want.
I wonder. I mean, I guess he feels. All right, guys, let's shut up. I guess he feels pressured to talk about this. Considering he got pulled from like the pictures on whatever. I just said his name, Mr. Beast thing, so he probably feels like he needs to defend himself more. But it's going to get to a certain point where like all he can do is put his perspective out there and kind of just move on. So
any hate to be sent to anyone, including these people. Here are the 2 tweets that I posted about the situation. These are now deleted as I only made them to let people know that I had intentions to make a response. And I didn't want people to think I was just completely radio silent in the time that I needed to make those responses. First of all, I just want to make it clear that my tweet that I put out after my first statement wasn't somehow admitting to guilt or completely backtracking on what I originally said.
His entire friend group has dropped him, and his career is being dragged through the mud, so he kind of has to. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he's in that Minecraft community with a bunch of young people who get just a bunch of young people who just don't really understand the way the world works, and they think that like very small ass things are like horrifically bad.
Perspective had changed due to new information that Katie had provided, so now I'm just going to go over Katie's new statement and talk about what she had to say.
What could possibly change, dude? Like, she lied about the narrative that was going on. I mean, at like a certain point, like at what point do you start standing up for yourself?
So first, she acknowledges the texts that I showed about them talking about wanting to play the drinking games are real, but that they were from her friends. So this is reasonable. I only brought up that point because the implication was that it was kind of creepy of us and we were forcing the game on them.
There was more alcohol in the room, and we were encouraged to drink some more as they
encouraged to drink more, okay.
offered the bottles to us and insisted on drinking games, and already drunk, I obviously complied.
In reality, it was mutually talked about, and everyone was just having fun. So next, she mentions that one of the reasons she wanted to hang out in our hotel room was because there was another creator that was in the room, but then that creator didn't actually end up being there. Again, reasonable. I didn't know this at the time. There were people in and out of our hotel.
Who cares if that's true? Like, what is that? That doesn't change any of the context that they were like flirting and cuddling, and then he like tickled her or something. Like, who gives a shit?
Throughout the whole event, so
and they were like mutually flirting in text. Like, there's none of this matters.
So she could have potentially heard of anyone being there. When her group was on the way to the hotel, she was messaging me, bantering about whether or not I would actually be there or not, and that made me think that she wanted me to be there. But I don't know, maybe she didn't care and she just wanted to see the other creator or just to be with her friends. Next, she shows our Instagram DMs, and she said that a reason she kept messaging me in a friendly way for a while after this whole thing happened was because, and this is a quote, she felt lucky to be talking to a verified account, someone famous, someone I had followed and watched for a while. Now, this is not something that I was thinking about at all. I wasn't aware that she ever watched my content in the past.
Who cares if she was? Like, listen, I know why this is being said, and I know how this, like, the narrative that's going on. It's the power dynamic narrative. Well, I really enjoyed him and his content, and because I enjoyed this guy's content, I would be willing to do things that I wouldn't normally do for other people. That's the argument. But we need to get to a certain point where who cares? Who cares if you're willing to do something for somebody because you like them more, because you have a parasocial relationship with them, because you consume their content? No, it doesn't matter. It means nothing. Now, if that content creator leverages their power against you, that matters. If the content creator is like, if you sleep with me, I'll give you this, or says, if you don't sleep with me, I'll take away this, then it matters. But you liking somebody because they're rich or famous or popular and you being willing to do more for them is irrelevant. That's a you problem. She's a grown adult. Okay, you guys are in a consensual age range. It's time to grow up. This is you made an adult decision. Okay. That's like let's bring it down to like so much more fundamentally. Let's say somebody was like, yeah, the guy was rich, so I was willing to put up with more of him being an asshole to me or something. Like, nobody would care. I'd be like, okay, well, you're stupid. Like, right? People have different things that makes them more or considered more valuable to other people, and that's why you interacted with him. You thought like that's all. It does not matter. Nobody in the real world would ever care about this. It's literally like you're telling me you're a fucking groupie. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Past that was never brought up. This actually makes me feel pretty bad the only reason
Why?
she was messaging me was because
Oh, it makes him feel bad because he feels like he was being used. Okay.
or something. I would never want that. Again, the only reason I actually brought up us messaging
Oh, wait,
after
maybe
the
not.
fact was to show that we were still friendly afterwards, and that I didn't know that she was uncomfortable at the time. She also confirms that we did talk on Snapchat, like I said, but also that nothing really happened there either. The next thing she talks about is the elevator.
Well, I mean, it just shows that there was a mutual interest when she made it seem like there was no interest at all.
She said that we left at the same time and that her hotel room was on the other side of the hotel. So there was like kind of 2 corridors connected by an elevator room in the middle. So she's saying that she was just going past the elevator to get to her room. And again, this is totally reasonable. I brought this up because from her stream, the way that it was told kind of implied that I followed her out.
Yes, and that you were like harassing her at the thing until you finally walked away. And then what you were saying was that she kind of walked you to the elevator and then she waited with you until you went down. You like flirtatiously like, you should come with me. And she's like, no, thank you. And then it ended.
And then that she waited to take the next elevator instead of getting in with me while I tried to convince her to get in. I'll just play the clip of her saying this, so I'm not speaking for her.
I went to leave, and the older guy decided to leave with me. We walked to the elevator.
The older guy. That's so intentional because she's trying to make it seem like the age gap was too unreasonable. She was 18. I don't care. I hope he shows a clip where her friend Katie says she wasn't drunk before arriving. Oh, is there a clip of that somewhere? Interesting. Could you send that to me? I don't think it's in here.
Where I didn't get on. He then pretended that the elevator was broken and that he couldn't leave, telling me to get in the elevator to prove it was broken.
I really don't like this woman. I hate this fake voice. You weren't like this person. Your whole story is that he might have like tickled you without your consent, and then waited at the elevator with you. Like, get the fuck out of here. She's acting like she was like violently assaulted. I hate people who do this. It's like legitimate stolen valor from actual survivors of sexual assault.
In my original video, I just wanted to clarify this, that we left together because the night was over and that she was on the same floor, so she didn't actually have to take the elevator. And it seems like she agrees with this now. So next she agrees with me that she didn't mention my online friend that I just met that day. She said she didn't mention him though because he left early and she didn't even know his name. And she
probably didn't mention him because I don't know. To me, it seems like she was just trying to like talk to like a famous person.
The text message that she says is from him from the night.
No, I don't know what the T. Nichols situation is. What is that?
Where this happened.
That better not be something that just better not be trolling me.
He says this. Obviously, this is implying that he was kind of uncomfortable with what was happening, and also that he knew her age despite just meeting her. And when I first saw this, it's actually majorly changed my perspective on the night, because that would mean that my friend was also uncomfortable and somehow knew her age when I.
Who cares? She was 18. Who cares? I don't care.
And even though she said that he left early, my memory of it was actually that he was the last to leave, just before me and Katie left. Dream also came to me and mentioned that this changed his perspective of the night as well.
Dream's a fucking pussy. I heard he was like crying on Twitter or something, like a baby. Shut up.
Because that would mean that he would.
Dude, these people are like literal, like grown babies. You guys have a community of children and you act like children. That's what's happening here. You think that any of this matters is because your community's full of fucking idiot kids and you're a fucking idiot kid. Like, grow up. Grow up and like move on and do different content. Like, their whole world is consumed by this absolute moronic bullshit. These people are so fucking insufferable. Oh my god. Where did you send it, August? Did you send it in the general chat? Where did you send it? Where did you send it?
Was essentially the only person that wasn't uncomfortable, and that therefore he should have known. This really concerned me. I kind of was just sitting there like really thinking, how could this have happened?
Oh,
so I reached out to my friend to talk to him about it, and it turns out that
I don't care. Here, what is this?
He asked us who I cannot remember. Once again, I was drunker than the night before and was willing to go anywhere. I was naive, and so we went back. I remember a friend seeing me in the lobby on the way. They were worried by the way I was acting and asked if I was okay. I was really drunk, and it was an eerie feeling, like they could sense something was wrong, and I wondered what would have happened.
I was really drunk. They had an eerie feeling. They could sense something was wrong. Wow, I wonder if it's because you were fucking drunk, and they're just like, "What? You're a slob." That's probably what they were thinking. Because when people get too drunk, they act like slobs. That's what the reality is.
If I picked up on it, and if I wasn't drunk, and if I didn't wave it off, but I don't want to dwell on the what ifs. That night, I went up.
Okay, great.
But then it ended up coming out, and we made a game plan. Let's go back to the hotel. You know, it's totally fine. We went back to the hotel, and that's where we came from. It was a casino party. No one drank. People claimed that we came to the hotel having already drank. We didn't. We went back to the hotel, didn't drink, went to the hotel room, and that's when we started to drink.
Okay, cool. What did I get? What does this show? Another inconsistency in her? Another inconsistency in the crybaby story? Yeah, true.
That he actually didn't send this message. I'm going to play a phone call that I had with
Yeah, I drink too much and have regrets. Yeah, welcome to adulthood, exactly. You know, you're a grown adult. You shouldn't be drinking out under the age of 21, but like you're still 21. You're an adult. You can make your own decisions. If you decide to drink illegally, that's your decision. It has no negative impact on anybody else but yourself. I don't care. You're a fucking legal adult. If you think that the age of consent's too low, then go advocate for that, but you probably don't really care outside of virtue signaling on the internet.
After I found this out, just because I think it gives more context. So there is a text that is claimed to be from you.
Yeah, I didn't send that text. I found out about it when you sent it to me. But yeah, no, that wasn't me. I don't know where they got that from. I didn't ask them for any of their phone numbers or anything like that.
Can you kind of just talk me through your, like, anything that you remember from essentially the entire event?
A little bit before VidCon, I hit you up to hang out, and then you mentioned that you had an extra bed for your hotel. We got there around like 5 o'clock. We just went out to your room, like met up. I think it was towards like 9 or 10 o'clock. We met up at Dream Spot. Then it was just us three for a bit, and then you or Dream mentioned like just having some people come over and hang out. We were playing, I forget what the drinking was called. I think it was kind of like Cards Against Humanity, something similar to that. I didn't really notice anything out of the ordinary. I didn't really notice any like bad vibes or anything like that. It was a little playful, maybe a little flirty. I noticed you guys were just kind of like playing with each other and just like kind of cuddled up a little bit on the couch. So it definitely didn't seem like she was like uncomfortable, you know? I don't know, it seemed like everybody that was there was having a good time, because I mean we were there pretty late, so I don't really follow like this internet stuff like that, so I'm not up to date with what's going on online. The way she was explaining everything, I mean, at least to me, like it was not like that at all. To me, it kind of seems like a misunderstanding. There wasn't really a thought in my
No, it doesn't seem like a misunderstanding at all. It seems like she knows what she's doing, and like she's just weaponizing. Listen, people nowadays want to be victims, and so she's kind of like grabbing onto that narrative. Like, oh, I can claim I'm a victim because I had an encounter that I look back on and kind of regret. Like, that's literally it. There was no sexual assault. There was no rape. There was no nothing. She's a legal adult that like drank and that she regretted it, and now she wants to blame it on other people.
My mind that like, oh, this girl like could be in some sort of danger, or she's being like preyed on or anything like that. Because yeah, even though George is my friend, if I noticed him doing anything that I wouldn't want someone I'm friends with to do, then I would, you know, I either would say something about it or not be a part of that situation.
She says that you left early on in the night. Could you talk about that?
I think around like 3 or 3:30, I went to go get tacos. I think I got the party pack or something. For some reason, I couldn't believe I actually went and got tacos. I know for a fact that I got the tacos like extremely late. Like I had to go in their drive-thru even when I was in a car. Like I had to walk through their drive-thru and like order through their speaker.
Are you even allowed to walk into a drive-thru? I thought they would make you go inside.
That was fun. I know I left at 5 or very close to that time, because right after 5, I texted Dream that I left open the deadbolt on his door. Right after I left, I texted him that to let him know. I think that was at like 5:10 a.m. I can genuinely say I had a really good night. That's kind of the impression that I got from everybody else too. Like everybody was having a good time, but hopefully, you know, you and Katie can maybe, I don't know if be friends is the right word, but I hope she feels better about it, because, you know, I feel bad that she feels this way. But
these guys need to stop caring about this liar's perspective, because she doesn't feel any way. She's lying.
I don't know, it's kind of bad situation.
Like, she actively lied about the narrative. There's no charitability left for this fucking piece of shit. Like, we need to stop. We need to be meaner when it comes to verifiably false accusations like this one is.
It's just fucking wild that like this whole situation came from like that night.
Because it just diminishes actual survivors when you validate this absolute nonsense.
It was just like mind.
Stop validating any level of her feelings, because she knows what she's doing. She's an adult with agency over herself. Stop infantilizing her. Like, honestly, stop treating her like a kid still. She's not a kid. She's a grown adult. Needs to stop.
Boggling, dude. Like I couldn't really believe like half the shit I was hearing. Like as someone that was there, like other ways that I've heard it being like described, like from what I was like reading and watching online, is actually kind of insane.
So obviously after this conversation with him, I was pretty confused. Maybe it was like a misunderstanding or something, because obviously they wouldn't just show this screenshot if it was fake, because I could disprove that pretty easily. So I had Dream reach out to get some clarification on it. So they replied back and essentially just said that it was an accident and that Katie had gotten confused on who said what. And I'm really not trying to nitpick anything here. I just really think it's important to make sure that everyone has the full picture of the whole event as it happened, so that people can accurately form their own opinion. Anyway, the next thing that she talks about is the cuddling. She said, and this is a quote, "A lot of the touch was initiated by him, probably not realizing it. A lot of the cuddling he may have felt was personal, but it was just me being drunk." I do think a lot of the cuddling was initiated by me, but some of it wasn't.
Dude, it sounds like she got drunk and she regrets cuddling with this guy or something. Who cares?
Also drunk, but my impression at the time was that it was very mutual. She also says,
when they cuddled for like an hour, like how do you cuddle for an hour and like you were just, it doesn't even make any sense. That's like when she said, I confused my initial excitement with fear. I now know it's fear. It's like, or some shit like that. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? She's just trying to rewrite history.
That quote, I didn't know cuddling was an invitation. I don't think just cuddling is an invitation for anything. I only brought the cuddling up because it's something that she didn't mention at all in her original stream.
I mean, it makes sense if like somebody's letting you cuddle them and you guys are cuddling consensually. Naturally, you'd feel comfortable enough to like, I don't know, make the next move. Who cares?
We sat on the couch.
It's like normal shit. Again, I believe in explicit consent, but like that's not how everything works out all the time. You know, sometimes you're just like, oh, look, this person is kissing me. Everything's consensual. All right, well, now they're kissing me. I'm going to move on to doing that. Just normal shit. Like, okay.
And the older guy sat right next to me while playing.
The older guy.
It was a little after that when I resorted to playing games on my phone when it happened.
And again, it's something that I think people need to know about to understand my perspective fully. The next thing that she talks about is that I said she got up and sat back down with me multiple times. She agreed with this, but said that the reason she did this is because, quote, I didn't want someone I had watched for a while or with a large following to hate me for denying to even sit near him. Now,
okay. I can't take that seriously. I just can't. Oh, well, I did something for this guy because he had a big following and I was afraid that I don't care what you thought. I don't care. We have to move past this. Unless they explicitly leverage their power against you, we have to stop. Like, okay, you should have set a better boundary. And if he fucking disavowed you for that, then like, yeah, that would be a problem. But he didn't. We don't know that. This massive hypothetical, that unprovable hypothetical, we can't go down that. We don't know. So what are we supposed to do? What is this T. Nichols allegations, dude? Can you send me a video or reference a video?
Now, this makes me feel terrible. It's something that she mentions throughout, this power imbalance, but this is not something at all that I was thinking about at the time. She was a VidCon invited guest. She had a hotel room on the same floor as Dream. She was friends with my friends. And honestly, I just never imagined that this is something that she could have thought. And I do think that's my problem. I should have been aware of this, or at least the possibility of this being the case. And I am sorry. I feel terrible about it.
Get the fuck out of here. I hate it when people need to fight back more. There's no way, with all the inconsistencies and lies that are shown in her story, like to be charitable and even believe any of her, like what she's saying is insane.
I've never really thought about power imbalance at all, to be honest. In that room, I wasn't thinking about YouTube subscribers or fame or power or anything at all like that. I just saw us all as friends, hanging out, having fun. Again, I'm not trying to downplay this by saying this. It is genuinely something that I'm going to be thinking about going into the future. This comes up again later, and I'll have more to say then. Next, she talks about how...
Sure, make sure people feel comfortable saying no to you if you have a power imbalance. That's a great idea, guys. But this is ridiculous.
I mentioned that she stayed for hours even after her best friend left. She says that her best friend left throwing up in her...
I completely agree with you, but would you generally say 18 and 26 is appropriate? Just curious. I mean, dude, like, it's legal. I don't care. Do I think an 18 and 26-year-old is, like, immature on the 18 to 26-year-old's part? Probably, sure, but you're a legal adult. Like, you have the ability to set boundaries, to say yes and no, to make your own decisions. So I don't care. It's appropriate. Like, you can think it's weird, but there's a difference between saying weird and inappropriate. Like, these are two different things. Like, think it's weird if you want, but these are two different things.
and that she didn't know she had left. That she didn't make the conscious decision to stay. Now, this isn't my recollection of what happened. I remember Ghosty getting up to leave and Katie getting up to say goodbye to her. I also asked Dream about this, and he had the same recollection as me. We were all drunk, so I can't 100% say for sure what actually happened, but as per my memory, she was aware that Ghosty had left. Also, according to what she said, Katie and Ghosty were sharing the same hotel room together. So the obvious assumption is that they would probably leave together. The fact that she chose to stay, despite not really knowing most of the people there, gave me a pretty positive impression on how she felt about...
Yeah, that makes sense. If all her friends left and she stayed, that sounds like she's comfortable with everybody there.
Staying there. She says...
Because if she was uncomfortable, she would have used that as an out.
That after Ghosty left, quote, I put up with it in the moment because I thought it was the price I had to pay to be around such big creators.
She's trying to make it seem like he's fucking Harvey Weinstein.
Again, like I said before, this is just not something I even thought she could be thinking, and I'm sorry that I didn't. Next, she talks...
Why? You're not a mind reader? What the hell's wrong with you?
Talks about me being more touchy as the night went on, and says this, quote, you didn't know me, apparently you didn't even know...
Do you think that he's worried that being aggressive in his response would stop people from taking seriously? Maybe. He's probably just a nice guy that does like that. Again, his fan base is like immature kids that think that this person has a valid argument against him, which they don't.
Age, but you knew what I wanted. No, he assumed it's what I wanted because why wouldn't I want me? Next, she talks about me being more touchy as the night went on and says this, quote, you didn't know me, apparently you didn't even know my age, but you knew what I wanted. No,
well, you were 18, and apparently you were wearing a wristband that said you were 21, so...
No, he assumed it's what I wanted because why wouldn't I want that from someone like him?
Bro, I swear to God, she read somebody else's like horrific assault story and then decided to parrot that. There's a difference between some person feeling entitled to sex from somebody versus somebody engaging in like very slow signs and progressing like intimacy. like, oh, this person let me lay down on the couch with them for a little bit. Let me like test by like, playfully tickling them or something. All right. The way that she's talking is like this guy just started violently raping her. It's like you. I know you want it. It's not what happened. Like, what the fuck?
This is absolutely not how I think about this kind of situation at all. I would never think like that, and honestly, it's kind of an evil way to think about things. Just having the opinion that you can do anything because you're famous or whatever. And I never once remotely thought anything similar to that. And I feel terrible reading those words knowing that you think that about me. I would never think that I'm owed anything from
She doesn't think that about you. She's full of shit.
anyone just because I have a YouTube channel.
And if she's not full of shit and she's just been gaslit by her audience, it's like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, we got to start holding somebody accountable for this nonsense. This is ridiculous.
Especially in an intimate context. Again, I'm really sorry for this, and it actually has been pretty eye-opening to me, and it's just not how I've ever really thought about stuff before. And I don't really think you're wrong for assuming that I thought like this, because
Yes, she is. Okay.
obviously there are people out there that think like that.
Yeah, but they don't just lay on the couch and cuddle with you for an hour and then like walk you to the elevator and ask you if you want to come down with them and make playful jokes. They like violently assault people. It's not what happened. Okay. Very clearly, this guy doesn't feel like he has an entitlement to anybody's body based on anything that anyone said.
And use that to take advantage of people. And it makes sense that if you think that about me,
Her unreasonable interpretation doesn't mean anything to me. So
that you would hate me. But
I guess at least he's still standing up for himself. He's not saying, no, I am a rapist,
that is not who I am at all. And I just really hope that you can understand that. Now, another thing that she mentioned that changed my perspective on things was that she showed texts from 2 of her friends the day after, checking up on her to see how she felt. She says, quote, "In the moment I was chilling, but thinking back on it, I'm sweating a little bit like, damn. I also don't know if I was chilling in the moment because I was drunk." And this is something that I was actually completely unaware of. I wasn't aware of any uncomfortableness in the moment, after the fact, or even after Katie's first stream. I just wasn't aware that anyone had expressed discomfort until I saw these texts. I actually had the opposite impression just because we were all really friendly afterwards still. Dream actually had a conversation about this with almost everyone that was in that room a few months later. One of their friends had actually tweeted about Dream, saying that he was inviting an 18-year-old girl back to his hotel to drink at VidCon, and was implying very negative things about Dream being a predator. So Dream realized this could have only been about Katie, because it was a pretty specific call out, but
I wish he came out the fucking gates being aggressive as hell, dude.
thought that it was just being purposely
Not too aggressive, just like standing up for himself a little more.
misleading from someone that hated him. Dream actually had no idea as well that anyone was uncomfortable, and assumed that this tweet was implying Katie was uncomfortable with Dream. He reached out to Ghosty about it, asking what this was even about, and did the same to others, including Katie. Now, I'm not going to be showing Katie's text with Dream, because at the time Dream had told her that her messages and conversation would not leak their texts. However, here is Dream and Ghosty's conversation about it. "I was never brought up or mentioned at all. And also, when Dream makes fun of Harry for being ridiculous and making stuff up because nothing happened and we were all still friends, she said, exactly." She actually spoke about this on her stream very recently, and I don't want to speak for her, so I'm going to play the clip where she clarifies these messages.
The only time that we had a conversation about anything that had to do with that night was obviously when the stuff with Harry happened. And he
Sorry, my wife is in the city right now, and I'm trying to make sure she's okay. I'm just looking at the text messages from her.
texted me asking if it seemed like anything had happened. And I, at the time, said no, because the conversation was not about George. The conversation was about him, and it was about the underage drinking, and it wasn't
The underage drinking. I it's so funny because the implication is that somebody that's like under the age of 18 was drinking. Under the age of 18, not like somebody was drinking and happened to be under the legal age to drink, but still a grown adult, like still like a legal adult, excuse me.
ever about whether or not Katie, it was always just about him and not George, which is why I said, dude, no, nothing seemed wrong, because he wasn't doing anything wrong, and I can stand by that. I will stand by that comment, and I said that in one of my posts that, like it wasn't him. That was our conversation. It was never about George. It was about him and the Harry situation, and it was about at the time had seemed that Dream was one who had taken advantage of Katie, and I said he didn't, and I didn't lie.
And Ghosty, I'm really not trying to use your words against Katie or you. I'm just trying to paint an accurate picture of our perspective of the night, and to do that, I kind of have to talk about everything that we knew. I don't think your words negate at all how Katie felt, of course, but they did affect how I perceived the situation afterwards.
Oh my god. Oh, Katie's a fucking Katie gets off scot-free regardless of whether she's a fucking dishonest piece of shit or not, because the narrative, the public narrative at his best is that like she was valid in feeling everything that she felt, which somehow validates her lying. Blah blah blah. Jerk me off with a fucking spoon. You know what I mean, dude? I fucking 5 seconds and I died on that. That's insane. Oh, I have a revive. Okay.
Even after Katie's stream, this kind of confused us, and Dream especially, because he thought that this would have come up in these conversations. Now he was so confused that he was convinced that Harry was essentially being malicious. And he said this, and Ghosty and others there agreed with him. Ghosty even said that her friends should get to know him because she and Katie had actually had...
You really need to rail against false accusations more aggressively, because it really does absolutely destroy the conversation when it comes to like real accusations.
pretty negative opinions of Dream before meeting him, but had their minds changed after meeting him at VidCon. This is obviously said about Dream and not...
This is just going to empower more like dishonest pieces of shit to come forward with like fake accusations against people and like, you know, dishonest narratives. That's all that's going to happen.
me, but Dream looked at this as positive about the entire experience and shared this with me. It seems like Ghosty has changed her mind about this now, but I just think it's really relevant to how we felt about the situation as a whole, and to show this to you guys. Honestly, over the last year or so, anytime a creator has kind of distanced themselves from me, I just assumed it was because of Dream. Dream had false grooming allegations against him, and I assumed that because of this and my association with Dream, people didn't like me. After Dream posted his video disproving these allegations,
I mean, that might have been a factor in why this woman felt like she could come forward and say something against you, right? I mean, think about it. People, even though Dream seemed to have proved his innocence, people still believe that he did was wrong, or that he did something wrong. So they could like be like, oh well, he's a friend with Dream, and he groomed this other girl, so he must have groomed it. You know.
I honestly thought pretty poorly of creators that were still negative to me, as now I thought there was literally no reason for it. And now, after seeing Katie's follow-up, I realized that probably everyone knew about this behind the scenes. And I think that is insane. I was walking around with these people at other events, or interacting with them in any way, and all the time they were just thinking terribly about me, and I didn't even know, and neither did any of my friends. If I'd seen Katie in person, I would have gone up to her normally. I would have assumed we were still friends. I think this is a massive injustice to Katie. It actually kind of makes me rethink a lot of my experiences with other creators, just looking back on it with this new information. And I don't even know who these people are. And even right now, after all of this information is public and out there, I still haven't had a single private conversation with anyone who knew about it prior to Katie's stream. This is all just to say that I didn't have any idea that there was a problem, and I wish that I had, and I should have. The last thing to mention is
how should you have?
her age. Like I said, I wasn't aware at the time that she was 18. I mentioned that they had come from an official VidCon after party, they were drunk, and I made the assumption that, knowing how these events are run, that she was probably over the age of 21, as they wouldn't have been able to drink in there otherwise.
Yeah, who would have thought? Who would have thought somebody would assume someone's 21 when they're wearing a wristband that says that they're 21?
Now, they actually said that they drank somewhere else briefly before showing up, and that makes more sense. It is irresponsible of me that I made this assumption and go...
Why is it irresponsible that you made this assumption? How is that irresponsible in any capacity? You would expect like the TwitchCon, the organization with like millions of dollars at its disposal, to be able to more effectively, get their shit together. So like, who cares? Like who gives a shit? I would have assumed anybody with a bracelet that said that they were 21 was 21. How is this your fault? There's no level of responsibility that you would need to take on it. What are you talking about?
Going forward, I will make sure to explicitly ask for a person's age. I'm sorry, Katie, that...
Hey, I know that you are wearing a wristband that says you're 21. How old are you, though? Okay.
I did not do that for you. I also brought up how when I was going back through...
How come they all have like that slight like to the side angle? You ever see like Dream has that slide like they're mewing, you know? Like they're like, shh, you know? It's like slightly off. You understand what I'm saying?
The texts, I found a picture of one of them wearing a 21 plus age wristband. And I showed this picture. Now, this is from a group chat that I wasn't in, but Dream showed me this when I was making my video, and I figured it was relevant to why I was under the impression she wasn't 18. It is now mentioned that Katie wasn't actually the one that was wearing it, and it was just someone else's hand. So in these texts, they say, this is a quote, "Loose ass 21 plus wristband. We have a strat." Now, to explain what this strategy is for the people that haven't really been in a club environment or a place where you would get a wristband like this, essentially they give you this wristband to show that you are over 21 so that you can get drinks from the bar. These wristbands are made in a way so that once they're put on, they cannot be taken off without breaking it. And that's precisely why they're used, to prevent people from underage drinking. But clearly the security that gave the girls these bracelets didn't do a good enough job and didn't put it on tight enough. And this just shows that you can never be too careful and shouldn't make assumptions like I did. And
yeah, what an unreasonable assumption, guys.
Should have asked for her age, and I'm sorry that I did not.
Shut up. Just stop. Just stop. She lied on purpose. Who cares? She was 18. She got a fucking illegal bracelet. If she was fucking 17, I wouldn't care, to be honest with you. If she was 17 and you didn't know and you thought she was 21 because she had a 21 wristband, I'd say the same fucking thing. I don't care. Like, stop being irresponsible and doing illegal shit. What do you want me to tell you?
This is not a mistake that I will make again. From Katie's statement, it kind of seems like she did.
Guys, this is why you need to get married, so that you don't have to deal with this bullshit.
believe that I didn't know she was 18 and
Okay.
kind of thinks I'm just being dishonest about it. She said that she had it in her bio and that I
It doesn't matter. She's 18. Who gives a fuck?
DM'd her, so she was very confident that I knew.
Later
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. She's a fucking legal adult.
that night, when I left, I received Instagram DMs from him, and in my Instagram bio, in bold, was my age, 18, confirming he knew how old I was.
For context,
Oh
as you
no,
can see
the 18-year-old fucking toddler can't defend themselves. Oh my goodness.
here in the screenshot, her age is actually in her display name on Instagram. And because of this, I was also pretty confused how I didn't know that she was 18. As
I don't
it's
care.
literally in her name, not even in her bio. It's in her name. If it was in her bio, it would make sense to me because I could totally see myself going to her profile the first time I wanted to message her and just clicking message.
I love how he's like so harping on this point so much. Like for him, part of his innocence lies in if he can convince people that he didn't know she was 18, because an 18-year-old is basically a fucking toddler. That's the implication here. It's like, dude, who gives a fuck if you knew if she was 18? He probably didn't know, but who cares either way? She's 18. She's a fucking legal adult. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? She's a legal adult who chose to sneak into a fucking 21-year-old drinking party and she drank. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Who fucking cares?
And never really going back to her profile, and essentially just anytime I interact with her was just through the direct DMs where you actually can't see someone's bio. So I actually completely see where she was coming from, and it does seem kind of ridiculous that I didn't know. So because of all this, I actually started to look into this quite a lot because I know that I'm not stupid and must have seen it. But also in my head, I know that I didn't know her age, so it conflicts. So today I actually found out there are two different types of professional Instagram account. There's a creator account and a business account. And for some reason, Katie's account was a business account instead of a creator account. We actually joked about this at the time through our DMs because I was actually able to book her as like a business, and I didn't really know why I was able to do that.
What does that mean?
And weirdly enough, it actually turns out.
What does that mean? If you're doing like a business account that you don't have your age listed or something? Or you, wait, what the fuck?
That business accounts don't display special characters from a username in the username that's displayed.
Okay, so the guy so somehow this narrative that doesn't matter actually still further exonerates him of any guilt. She was set to a business account so she'd get people to book her or whatever stupid thing she did that for. So it didn't even list the age, which is irrelevant to anybody else except for little babies online. Wow, he's more innocent somehow, guys. This is incredible.
And if you don't know what I mean by special characters, basically just a character that isn't something you can type on a normal keyboard. And because her age and the smiley is a special character, it literally just didn't display in her username at all. And you can actually see this in a picture that I sent to her during our messages, that her age is not displayed in her name. And you can also see this in the screenshots that I used in my previous video, that her age also isn't visible, despite the fact that her age was in her name at this time. But now actually, as of today, her account isn't a business account anymore, so her age shows up again. And this is a screenshot I took today. Obviously, this wasn't a feature that I knew about at the time, and I
don't think anybody knew about that, but okay.
I had to do quite a bit of research today to work that out. So I hope that could kind of clear that up a little.
He must have been like fucking. He must have been felt so relieved. Oh my god! I realized that this legal adult was actually. Oh my god! I got proof that I that I knew she wasn't a legal adult. Like that's what we're doing here. That's what's happening. Dude, she's fucking 18. Who cares?
A little bit, and that maybe you can see how I wouldn't have seen it. I actually do think that the age difference between me and Katie was a pretty big factor. I am older
No, from a legal perspective, no, it's not.
than her, and based on what she said, I do have more experience than her. She
It doesn't matter, dude. It literally means nothing. You didn't put any pressure on her.
never went into the exact specifics either, so out of respect for Katie, I've chosen not to give any more details than she did, to make sure that I'm not.
Oh yeah, because Katie was being obnoxious. Why did you come forward and say so many different things? Oh wait, no, that was a different person. Am I thinking of a different person? Oh shit, I might be thinking of a different false sexual assault allegation. Holy fuck. Holy shit, dude. I'm like, dude, we gotta stop engaging with this nonsense. We need more fucking brain rot. Stat.
Airing out any information that she's not comfortable with being known.
We need more brain rot. Stat.
I have clarified that the furthest things went was under the shirt touching. She did say that the level of intimacy that we had together was the furthest that she'd experienced, but to me, it was quite tame. And when I say this,
It is very tame. It's a big nothing.
Not trying to devalue how she feels about this at all.
Yes, please devalue her because like people are over affirming her and she's being like, she's getting positive reinforcement on her fucking bullshit.
I'm just trying to point out that we clearly viewed things differently. And this is something that I have learned from now, and I will be taking very seriously moving forward. And I am truly sorry, Katie, for not realizing this and not taking this difference into account. It is clearly something that is extremely important to you. And I'm sorry. Even after everything I've just said.
You know what I think? She's a loser for being a virgin at 18. Am I right, guys? Everybody hit the Fortnite dance on this bitch. I'm just kidding. I lost my virginity at like 18 or 19. Because I was also a fucking loser.
Things would be very different if I could just say that I had asked her if she was comfortable and she had said yes. But the fact is, I never did ask this. As I mentioned, there were a lot of things that she said she thought that I wasn't aware of, that if I had known, would have changed a lot. And going forward, this will be something that I take into account in every interaction I have with anyone, sexual or not. I am sorry, Katie, and I am sorry for how this will affect you going forward.
Oh my god, Katie, you suck. If you ever watch this, I hope you feel bad about yourself for lying. Your feelings are not valid. You were flirting with a guy, you got drunk as a legal adult, and you regretted some of it, and he didn't do anything that was beyond the boundaries that you had set at all. That's what happened, Katie. Please stop invalidating sexual assault survivors with your absolute fucking idiot nonsense. You're pissing me off. People need to be more mean to you because we need less people like you coming forward with your nonsense because it drowns out actual assault survivors. You're a liar. Your parents raised you poorly, and they should be ashamed of themselves as well. That's what I think. Please, somebody tell them that they did a horrible job raising a shit brat for a fucking kid because you're a fucking disgrace. That's what I think.
And I'm sorry that everything got to this point, but I just hope that after hearing my perspective, you can understand that I never had any bad intentions and never meant to hurt you. I think that is essentially...
I'm sorry, Katie. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to make you cry, but tonight I'll help you write your poetry. Hey guys, let's write some slam poetry. How do you do slam poetry? He tickled my belly. I don't have anything for that. What do you do next? I don't know. This is stupid.
The information that I can add to the situation. After her first statement, I actually disagreed a lot with how things were portrayed and was pretty confused by a lot of the details. But her most recent response made things a lot clearer to me.
Yeah, it made it to me too. She's full of shit. She's a liar. She's a piece of shit.
And now I do think we agree pretty much on the order of events. We just don't necessarily agree on my intentions, but again, I do really hope that her seeing this can help with that. There are actually a couple of other things that I wanted to mention before I end this video that are not at all as important as anything else I've said before this, but this seems like the right time to address other concerns that people have had. The first thing...
Maybe she was upset because she didn't wash her belly button that day and his fingers got stinky. You should say that. Expose her for having stinky belly button, dude. Get her on that one. I'm just kidding.
that I want to talk about is a comment that I made about Punz's girlfriend at the time, Andy. I was in a call with Punz and Andy was in the shower.
Oh, yeah, we looked at that puns thing the other day too. That's okay.
And it was known that we could hear Andy as we had brought it up previously.
Dude, I don't care about the fucking pun situation either. That woman's full of shit too. You're all fucking annoying. I remember that. I'll link it in the description. You can go watch my take on it. It's a big nothing. It's another big nothing. It's two fucking assholes in a toxic relationship. That's it. That was the whole thing. It was a big nothing burger. It was a burger made of absolutely nothing. You guys guessed it. You guys guessed it. It was a burger made of nothing. It fucking doesn't matter. Let me see. I'll link it in there. I'll link. All right, guys. All right, shut the fuck up, Papa God. All right, let me just another big old fucking nothing burger. We don't know how to have toxic relationships anymore and realize that, like, oh, but that was bad, and both of us acted wrong. Nowadays, we try to cancel people. One time, I got hammered. I was fucking hammered off of 2.5 Smirnoff ices with a 4.5% alcohol content. And then even though we were in a relationship for like 6 months and would regularly have sex, I apparently got blackout drunk and then initiated sex with him, but I couldn't have consented. Even though we were both drunk. But I blacked out on 2 fucking beers. Excuse me, Smirnoff ices, which have less alcohol than a regular beer. You black out drunk on 2 beers? That's incredible. What a fucking crazy... Maybe you shouldn't drink. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Bro, if I get absolutely blackout drunk and my wife has sex with me, that's awesome. Good. That's my wife. I'm in a relationship, okay? Can you still assault your partner in a relationship? Absolutely. If your partner's blackout drunk, should you sleep with them? Probably not. Okay? Unless you have, like, very robust and, like, very well asserted boundaries, like my wife and I do. But there's a difference between being blackout drunk and passed out drunk. Okay, blackout drunk people just seem to say they're blackout drunk because they forget stuff. Okay, that doesn't mean that they weren't like aware. It doesn't mean that they weren't moving around like they had autonomy and agency over themselves. Okay, so there's a difference. She wasn't fucking pulled behind a dumpster by a disgusting predator, Brock Turner, who should have been put in jail for like 20 years. All right, she was with her boyfriend and she got drunk off of 2 beers and then pretended that she couldn't remember anything. What the fuck are you talking about? It was insane.
Within the call, she was talking very sexually with Punz, essentially complaining that Punz wasn't leaving the call to go have sex with her in the shower. I don't remember the exact quote that I said, but this...
See, the only problem is when you're in a shower with a woman, she takes the whole shower over from you, and then you get cold. So fuck that.
This is what Andy quotes me saying. If you don't go in the shower and have sex with Andy, I will. I do remember saying something along these lines.
Oh, no, you said... who cares?
Essentially saying, come on, Punz, go have sex with your girlfriend.
Oh my god, you were basically trying to force Puns to rape his girlfriend, dude. Holy fuck, I knew this guy was a predator. Oh my god, I'm gonna shit. I'm gonna shit in my pants.
Who's begging you to go have sex with her in the shower, or someone else will. But I do understand how this could be disrespectful, and that was not my intention at all. Knowing how
Who
she felt after the
cares?
fact,
I
do
don't
feel bad,
care.
and I'm sorry to both Puns and Andy for this comment. My
Oh
friends,
my
including
God.
Puns, we often say ridiculous things, and that's just our type of
It's a fucking joke. We get it, dude. Okay, the things I say to my friends on the fucking internet would make you guys fucking hang yourselves. Okay, who cares? I don't care. You made a joke about fucking, like, frankly, a respectful joke about fucking his girlfriend. Nobody was offended. Nobody cared. This is dumb.
answer. If anyone ever said something to me about me making them uncomfortable, I would obviously do my best to try avoid making them uncomfortable.
Guys, if you ever said anything about me and how I make you uncomfortable, stop watching my content. Stop interacting with me. Stop engaging with me. Don't be my friend. Don't engage. Like, I don't, like, okay. I'm just kidding. I like to make sure that people around me are comfortable, but also shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? You're half the equation, guys. All right. There's a lot of well-meaning people that'll say things that make you uncomfortable on accident. It's time for you to get your shit together and fucking grow up.
But Andy wasn't really one of my friends, so it makes more sense that she doesn't really know that's the type of way that
Ew, Andy is a girl's name? Loser alert. Thank you so much for the small gut from Alex. What? Alex Archie? I don't know.
I joke around, and I hope that she understands that I didn't mean any harm by it. Finally,
Oh, I
something that I've
sneezed.
wanted to talk about for quite a long time, but have never done, is
Are you starting poetry?
the Technoblade charity stream situation.
No,
People
what
were
is that?
upset that I was playing soundboards during the beginning of the stream. For context, this event wasn't intended to be serious or sad. It was a for fun event and to celebrate the memory of Technoblade.
Okay, cool. I don't care. I don't really care about friends making edgy jokes about their dead friend, to be absolutely honest with you. It means nothing to me. Same thing with Super Mega. I don't care. Okay, if you're friends with somebody, you know them, you know how, like, you have a better idea of them than I do. You know, maybe they like silly little edgy humor. Maybe they would have thought that was funny. Maybe that's why you did it. I don't care. I don't know the person. Okay, I don't. And some people cope differently from their, like, stuff like that. And, like, if their friend passed away, did the dad care? Was the dad offended? Did he apologize? What is this?
A narrative that was massively spread was that I played the soundboard during Technodad's speech, but that actually was not the case, and I had played it during a time where all the creators were in a call just talking to each other before the speech had even started. I actually called Technodad a few days after the event because I wanted to make sure that he wasn't upset or uncomfortable with anything that I had said, and we discussed it all. He told me that
He probably didn't really care.
didn't have a problem with what I did, and that the public
Probably because he's a fucking grown man. He doesn't have time for this idiot internet nonsense.
reaction was actually pretty crazy to
Dude,
him.
it would have been fucked up because, like, somebody would have been coming out with a false accusation against Technoblade at this point with all the shit going on. So, you know, terrible stuff.
And then he invited me to the next year's event. Another thing that people criticize me for is that I didn't donate to the charity. But again, this actually isn't the case. I donated $2,000 to the charity after the event, but I did do it anonymously, so obviously I'm not surprised at all that people don't know this. I donated anonymously because I just didn't really want to make it about me, and just donated because I wanted to.
That makes sense.
Obviously, there was no actual requirement for the creators in the event to donate to the charity.
Only $2,000. This rich Minecraft streamer could have given more. What an asshole.
And them just streaming to their audience and incentivizing the viewers to donate was enough. Now, I did this specifically by showing the donations live as they came through on my stream. And because of me doing this, over 2% of the donations actually contain my name within the donation message. So I think it's pretty unfair to come at me for not donating to the charity when I was clearly making a big effort to get my viewers to donate. And beside that, I did donate $2,000. I just wanted to mention this. I know it's kind of way off topic compared to the other two things that I've mentioned in this video, but it is something that has been constantly brought up since it happened as a way of showing that I'm a bad person. So I wanted to clear that up. And that's pretty much everything I have to say.
You want to know what?
So
You're a bad person for not being meaner to this dumb fucking asshole Katie. That's what I have to say.
hope you can understand. And yeah, bye.
Hey. Incredible.